A second plague has come upon the land, dousing the last flickering hopes of our race. Drawn by the very force we Chozo hoped to contain, a host of marauding creatures descended from space and invaded our temple, the Cradle. They try in vain to destroy it, but its power remains beyond them for now. They possess some of the 12 artifacts we call the Cipher, yet do not comprehend their function. Ignorant creatures, they are blinded by delusions of harnessing the great poison for their own designs. They walk about as masters of the planet, assimilating the ruins of our sanctuary into their experiments. We can but watch and wait for our doom. And let's start this Metroid Prime episode with a rumble with 3 Chozo Ghost Guardians. Great. We don't have a proper visor that can actually see through their invisibility. So as they're darting around, flickering about, oh man, what a time to get a notification. Not now, visor! Can't you see that I'm fighting these things? And I am super outnumbered. I don't even have the right system to see where they're running about. But the most successful thing I've been able to do in fighting these guys over multiple years is when they go to charge their weaponry, their ghostly ectoplasmic beam cannon, their charge Hadouken, that's when you gotta hit them with a super missile. If you keep trying to chase them around like that throughout the field, you're only going to damage them slightly. Really, the best point to damage them at is when they're charging their Hadouken, and you blast them with a super missile. You can't get too close to them either, because then they completely fuck up your visor, and they make everything go gray. These things are the main source of my early ulcers, I will say that. I hate these Chozo ghosts. Hate them! Yeah, that's right, you better die, fucker. You know, these are the creatures, at least these are the spiritual forms of the friggin' creatures that were supposed to have raised Samus from a young pup. The newborn, the hatchling. Oh, what endearing terms they referred to us to in the past. But now, they just attack us and pursue us with all their might because they're afraid we might, oh, I don't know, find the actual artifacts like we're supposed to and save this planet. Yeah, wouldn't that be horrible, Chozo Ghost? Yeah, so bad. Oh, thank goodness. Even today, my asshole still gets tighter when I fight those freaks. I can't help it. I mean, it's so perfectly programmed. Even the music. The music is just so frantic, and I can't see where they're going, and they're darting all over the map, and they're shooting friggin' ectoplasmic balls at me, and then I run into one because it just teleports in front of me. I hate those things. Hate them. But I will hear out what the Chozo lore had to say. I'm not going to deny that they mentioned the turned. They even had a term for the turned. The Chozo infected and influenced by the Phazon. That's a fearful thing. And voila! We have our first artifact. Pretty freaking sweet. We are one step closer to fighting the final boss. But that's okay. We got a lot more game to go. Don't even think we are near the end, which of course you would know because there's 12 artifacts. We only got 1. But since we are on a roll here, and that's the item we're going to be grabbing this episode, let's head for the Magmoor Caverns because it's the closest area I can think of off the top of my head that has another artifact lying within. And I ain't lying here. Why would I mislead you? We are trying to go for the gold. Wouldn't that be awesome? Getting a gold power suit as an achievement for beating the game. Oh, cool. What's this do? This is, oh, I get it. That's such a cool... Ah, so you could scan them from right here. Right on, developers, right on. Again, I tip my hat to them. I love Retro Studios. This game is just filled with so much awesome. Just by every corner, every measure. Like, I seriously, I can't think of another game that I've been worried about the enemies. I mean, maybe something like Dead Space Extraction, but even that was not too bad because it's like you're on rails and there's only so much you can do. And you know that the developers are going to take you on a wild ride, so you expect to be frightened. But those Chozo Ghosts, man, oh, fuck. They did such a great job at making those such a feared nemesis, yet it's something that you pity. There's mixed emotions around fighting those things. Obviously, they gotta die. There's no way to get the artifact without offing them. Quick save there. There's no way to get anywhere without destroying a couple of ectoplasmic specters. But, you know, for all the ghost busting we go on, you gotta feel a little pity for them. They were sane Chozo. They were just fine at one point in time. But it was the Phazon that infected them. It's like a giant infection of an influenza virus that makes everybody go schizophrenic. Except like violent schizophrenic, you know, not even like talking to yourself. And I will say this, the idea of schizophrenia, it seems to be like a blanket term statement for anything or any action that is crazy that people do. Nonetheless, if there was a craziness virus that made everybody go attack one another for no reason, and they just got excessively violent, that'd be so incredibly hard to curtail. What could you do? If the infection, especially if it's airborne, is already out there, you're screwed. And just like Phazon, just like any infection, it spreads. And oh wait, I forgot. First time we came through here, we didn't have space jump boots. A very nice shortcut. That's another great design effect of backtracking that makes the backtracking you have to do in this game not so stale. I don't like it when a game makes you go backtrack. Oh, these friggin' things. Just get frozen, motherfucker. Alright, now where's your friend? Oh, there you are. There's a snow cone for you. Topped off by missile sprinkles. Mmm, delicious. And right down there, you know, while we are here, I believe there is a passageway underground that allows us to get a missile upgrade. So we might as well, it's one of those really simple, easy to get, not too out of the way on our journeys item. And since we're not getting a suit upgrade this time, we might as well get some kind of upgrade for our missiles. We are going after that artifact, don't you worry. Don't you worry your pretty little face, viewer. But, cool to see the secrets that they programmed in here. But, you know, that's the great thing. This game, it will make you backtrack just by way of having to go over areas you were... Hey! Man, he threw me all the way back in the tube. No! Oh, alright, cool. At least he didn't throw me in the whole tube. He was like, oh, well, you're already at the tube. I'm going to throw you in here. Yeah, suck on those balls, bitches. But the games that make you backtrack for the sake of backtracking just for experience, you know, that's the worst. I hate games that force you to, you know, no longer progress unless you go back to areas that you've tread so many times before. You definitely don't feel like going back there again. There's nothing new there for you. There's nothing exciting. All the same sort of enemies, and you're only going there to grind and spam for experience most of the times. I hate those kind of games, and Metroid Prime, happy to report, not that kind of game. Totally not. Now this is a really elaborate cage system to protect a missile. Whoever put this missile out here was really going to a far extent. In case of emergency, wrap up into a ball, roll underground, then go into the lava cage, make sure it's not rusted so that you don't step and fall into the lava. And yeah, you'll have your missile eventually. You'll have your missile. You'll get those missiles. Those missiles will be tasty morsels for you if you know how to use them. If not, you might just self-implode. You know, if you don't know where to point that arm cannon, don't look directly at the butt of the gun. That wouldn't be good. Goddamn Nintendo. The next Metroid game you make, please make a peripheral that is an arm cannon. I can't tell you how many pseudo arm cannons I've made in my past. And they all sucked. They all sucked. But there is some hope for me. I recently joined this place called Hackerspace here in Boulder, and they have a 3D printer. pretty freaking awesome. I've never known any other anything to have a 3D printer. This is the first time that I've seen one in person. I've watched a ton of videos on them and thought, man, this is the future. I can't wait until I'm not printing with paper, but printing with like plastics and making exactly what things I want. I'll never have to buy any sort of Pokemon figures again. I'm not going to take their copyrights and sell them. I'm just going to make my own custom figures and make Gengar and all sorts of poses and tons of cool custom stuff. Problem is, it's a smaller unit. You know, they have larger 3D printers that can do like, you know, door-sized printouts. But this is, I think, maybe a foot tall. That's the printing space that it has. And it's very interesting. I thought that this whole time it took some sort of special material, but all it takes is some plastic tubing. Some plastic tubing that you can get at Home Depot for like for a pound for a roll of it, like $35, and it'll last you a really long time. You feed it into the printer, and I guess it heats it up, so you don't want to be around it because you don't want to intake the fumes that it emits. But you make all the designs beforehand on the computer, and then you just have the printer do what it does best. Turn the plastic tubing into something awesome. And I would really like to test it out on making an actual prototype arm cannon. The thing is, I'm just not too certain that it would be large enough of a base. I could probably make like a small version of an arm cannon. And again, it would be, like, this is mainly a thing for prototyping. That's what they use it for, is making design ideas on this printable plastic medium to then actually do it in some sort of larger physical mechanical medium. But nonetheless, it would be really cool to implant more ideas out there in an official sense, not just out of cardboard and paint, that would maybe push Nintendo towards making such a peripheral that we could then play on the Wii U. Because we still use Wii remotes. Don't always have to use the gamepad, could have that as like a separate visor. So, let me know what you think of that idea below. None know if our temple, the cradle, will prove powerful enough to contain this evil forever. For now, it wraps around that abomination, cutting it off from the world above. But how can we Chozo hope for the cradle to remain intact when that which it guards writhes in the darkness, growing always stronger? The fate of this world rests with the gathering of artifacts we call the cipher, but even it is not all-powerful. It is strong, yes, an enchanted whole made of 12 links. Still, it is finite in its reach, and we who guard it are slowly succumbing. Will the entrusted one arrive before our vigilance crumbles away? That time rapidly approaches.